Joey, I want to get your take on that. As you heard that, and social media was totally buzzing, no pun intended, in terms of Nerd Meat. They thought he went over the line. Some people thought, like Mark on Dr. Drew, Mark English, that he had to do it. Ryan Smith thinks I think I caught him that he had to do it, and he did it in a way where he sort of apologized. What was your thought process on the whole that cross-examination?
Well, let me just say this, Jordan. There are a number of attorneys who, and we all do things differently, and no one of us is really right. None of us, as
right.
I like to say, has a monopoly on wisdom. Having said that, and I'm sure many will disagree with me, I think what he did was abhorrent. I think it was crass, and I think it was classless. And again, that's one person's opinion. I think there's a way to get your information out to the jury, to represent your client, to advocate for your client vehemently within the bounds of the law, and not really to upset the jury, be disrespectful to a witness, and, to compound a tragedy. And here's what I mean. I don't think it's proper to explore the sex life of a witness. I mean, you can certainly say, for example, to the witness, so it'd be fair to say that you and Travis had relations. Is that correct? Yes, you did, and that's your private business. Is that true? Yes. And what you did with Travis was up to you and him, right? And, your and Travis's relationship is not our concern, but as an attorney, certainly you're making an admission that you violated the laws of chastity with him. Is that right? Yes, I did. Now, then you move on, and I think what you move on to is that you just know, Madame Witness, right, that you can just comment about your relationship you had with Travis. You have no idea what his relationship was like with Jodi Arias. Is that right? You don't know whether he had relations with her. Is that true? You don't know how many other women he might have been seeing when he was with her. Is that also right? You have no idea, nor can you comment on the nature of their relationship, whether it was a complicated relationship, whether they cared for each other, whether they didn't. You cannot comment on that at all, right? All you're here to talk about is what you observed and what you shared with Travis. You cannot give any opinion as to the nature or extent of the relationship with Joey, right? Yeah, thank you very much. Good day. So I think that you kind of leave it at that. I think him exploring things like saying, did he ever call you a whore? Did he ever call you a this and that? Did he ever do the other? I think it's very disrespectful and it's very antagonizing. And so I don't take offense with the fact that he had to get out, that there potentially were violations of the laws of chastity or what have you, but I just think the pointed questions about sexuality to her, I think, crossed the line, and I'm one of those people who say that it was improper and just it was not something that I would have thought about doing.
Yeah, and you could actually tell by her expression that she wasn't enjoying herself up there being questioned like that.
Who would? I mean, it's just, enough is enough, and I think there comes a point in time where we've all heard the three-hole wonder, we've all heard the whore, we've all heard a dildo with a heartbeat. We've heard that already, and so why are you going to compound it by asking specific questions of this witness as to what he called you and talking about, different types of sexuality? Just look, you and him enjoyed each other sexually. Is that right? Okay, that's fair to say. And although it was a violation of chastity laws, and although you knew that to be the case, you enjoyed each other so much that that relationship continued, right? And that's your and his business. Sure, okay. But you're not here to talk about anything about Jodi Arias. You didn't know her. You didn't know him. You didn't know how they interacted. You didn't know what their relationships were. And that sort of what you're doing in that cross-examination is you're saying, great, the defense has to establish that his relationship with Jodi Arias was different than his relationship with this girl. That while he might have, for example, had this tumultuous relationship with Jodi Arias and this wonderful relationship, with his ex-girlfriend, they're just not the same. There's a qualitative difference between his relationship and his care and his love and his affection for one girl where he didn't have the same thing with Jodi Arias. And I think that's the way you get it out. And I just think the way he went about it, in my view, it was improper.